Celebrities who grew up in foster care. Eddie Murphy. When he was only 8 years old, Eddie Murphy's father, a police officer, was murdered. Just a year later, Eddie's mother became seriously ill and struggling financially. Him and his brother were put in foster care while she recovered. Although he only stayed in foster care for roughly a year, he attributes the experience with helping him develop a sense of humor. Colin Kaepernick. Since starting his professional quarterback career in 2012, he has broken many records in the NFL. Kaepernick, the youngest of 3 siblings, was put into foster care by his mother directly after his birth. He was then adopted when he was only 5 weeks old. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was one of the most successful businessmen to ever live. Jobs' mother gave him up when he was born in San Francisco in 1954. Steve's biological parents were unmarried when his mother fell pregnant, but as his father was a Muslim immigrant from Syria, her parents would not allow her to marry him. He spent his foster experience with his soon-to-be parents until they could adopt him. John Lennon. After his parents' divorce, his mother Julia had a tough time raising him due to his bad behavior. So she gave up custody of him to his Aunt Mimi and her husband, who later adopted him. Marilyn Monroe. Monroe's mother had a history of mental illness, a struggling single parent, and battling against the judgments of having a child outside of marriage. After Monroe's mother was declared legally insane, Marilyn was sent to live in an orphanage for 2 years. After that, she lived with a family friend for 4 years. James Dean. Dean's mother died when he was only 9 years old, leaving his father in the lurch. After they moved to Indiana, James Dean was mostly fostered by his aunt. Willie Nelson. Nelson was born during the Great Depression. 3 days after his birth, both of his parents left him and his sister Bobby with his grandparents. They were the ones who introduced him to music. They taught them to play and sing too, and the family even wrote and composed songs together around the kitchen table. Ice-T. After both parents died of heart attacks during his childhood, Ice-T was fostered by 2 of his aunts in Los Angeles. This environment heavily influences his coming careers. Louis Armstrong. Armstrong's parents, unable to take care of him financially, sent him to live with various relatives in New Orleans during the early 1900s. Sher. Sher's mother, Georgia, divorced her father while she was pregnant with her. When Sher was 2 years old, due to an illness, Sher's mother was unable to take care of her, resulting in her needing to put her in foster care. After staying fostered by her grandparents for a period of time, she moved back in with her mother with the support from her grandmother. Alonzo Morning. Retired NBA star Alonzo Morning chose to live in a group home at the age of 10 after his parents' marriage fell apart. He stayed with a family friend who had an extensive experience fostering children until he went off to college. Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan was brought up by his grandparents while he was aged 4, due to his mother moving away as she was training to be a nurse. However, his grandparents died when he was just 6 years old, and after that he stayed with various relatives until being sent to live in a boarding house until age 10. Seal. Seal's life began by being immediately placed with a foster family in Essex. He spent the 4 years of his life with his foster family and then returned to the care of his biological parents. Neil Morrissey. The third of 4 sons of Irish parents who were both psychiatric nurses. He and his youngest brother were taken from their parents and put in separate foster homes due to the unclean, neglecting household they had grown up in. Simone Biles. Simone Biles is an Olympic gymnast and became the first woman to win 4 straight US all-around titles in 42 years. Simone's birth mother suffered from drug addiction, so when she was 2 years old, she and her siblings were removed from her custody. They were put in several foster homes until they were adopted by their grandparents 3 years later.